There is a boulder. It sits at the foot of your bed each morning. You feel its weight the moment your alarm rings. It's the weight of the unanswered email, the endless notifications, the meeting that could have been an email, the deadline that seems to move in lockstep with your exhaustion. We push this modern boulder up the hill of our workday, our week, our career. We push with all our strength, our focus, our creativity. We reach the peak. Friday afternoon, a project completion, a quarterly review, only to feel a moment of hollow relief. And then we wake up Monday morning, and the boulder is waiting for us at the bottom of the hill once again. This feeling, this crushing, repetitive, and seemingly pointless cycle has a modern name. We call it burnout. We are told burnout is a personal failing, a lack of resilience, a failure to manage our time, to hustle harder, to practice self-care. But what if burnout isn't a personal failing at all? What if it's a systems failure? And what if the solution isn't found in a productivity app, but in a 3,000-year-old story of punishment? This is Sisyphus, the king from Greek mythology, condemned by the gods to an eternity of futile labor, to push a boulder up a mountain only to have it roll back down just before he reaches the summit. Forever. For centuries, Sisyphus has been the ultimate symbol of meaningless struggle, a warning, a curse. But here at Hindsight Lore, we argue this myth has been misunderstood. It is not just a warning, it is a strategic manual. Because the myth of Sisyphus isn't just about a man and a rock. It's a profound analysis of the relationship between labor, meaning, and power. It's a leadership lesson that, once decoded, offers a powerful strategy to confront the very nature of modern burnout. What if the ultimate symbol of meaninglessness actually holds the key to conquering it? What if the curse wasn't the boulder, but the way he was forced to see it? And what if breaking that perception is the key to our own freedom? Before we can understand the strategy, we must first understand the man. And most importantly, we must understand his crime. Sisyphus was not a random victim. He was the king of Corinth, renowned as the cleverest, most cunning of mortals. He was, in fact, a trickster. He saw the systems of the gods, their rigid rules, their arrogant whims, and he defied them. He famously chained up Thanatos, the god of death, simply because he did not want to die. For a time, no mortal on earth could perish. He broke the fundamental order of the cosmos. When the gods finally captured him, he tricked them again, convincing Hades to let him return to the world of the living, where he promptly refused to go back. His crime was not just defiance, it was hubris. He challenged the gods' authority. He exposed their system as fallible, and for that, the system demanded an eternal punishment. Now, consider the punishment. The gods were intelligent. They were masters of psychological torture. They could have condemned Sisyphus to hard labor. They could have had him build pyramids or forge weapons for eternity. But building something, even for your enemy, creates a result. It has a purpose. They could have condemned him to physical torture, but the body adapts to pain. No, the gods chose something far more insidious. They condemned him to futility. They knew that the boulder itself wasn't the torture. The labor wasn't the torture. The torture was the pointlessness. It was the absolute certainty that all his effort, all his sweat, all his strain would amount to nothing. The gods understood a fundamental human truth. You can destroy a person, a mind, a soul, not by breaking their body, but by robbing their work of all meaning. Does this sound familiar? This is the psychological blueprint for the modern corporate system. Not the one that produces, but the one that manages. It's the bureaucratic quarterly report that you know no one will ever read. It's the mandatory training seminar on a policy that changes next week. It's the endless chain of approvals, the redundant processes, The busy work designed not to create value, but simply to prove you are working. This is the system of punishment in a modern context. It is a system that often separates our effort from any tangible outcome. We are not pushing a physical boulder. We are pushing a digital one. We are pushing a boulder of bureaucracy. We are trapped in a system that, like the one designed for Sisyphus, seems expertly crafted to make us feel futile. This is the very essence of burnout. It is not exhaustion from work. It is exhaustion from meaninglessness. For millennia, this was the end of the story. Sisyphus was a tragedy. Then, in 1942, in the darkest days of human conflict and existential crisis, the philosopher Albert Camus revisited the myth. And in his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, he proposed one of the most rebellious ideas of the 20th century. He ends the essay with a sentence that changes everything. The struggle itself is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. Happy? How? How can a man condemned to an eternity of pointless labor be happy? Is this delusion? Is it a sick joke? No, Camus argues. It is a rebellion. It is the moment Sisyphus becomes conscious of his condition. He sees the full, absurd, and tragic scope of his fate. And in that moment of pure consciousness, he chooses to accept it. The gods condemned him to push the boulder. They did not, and could not, condemn him to despair. His body is enslaved to the rock, but his mind, his perception, remains his own. By choosing to find meaning in the struggle itself, Sisyphus commits the ultimate act of defiance. He robs the gods of their victory. The punishment only works if he believes it is a punishment. The moment he redefines it as his life, his purpose, the curse is broken. This is not passive acceptance. This is active, conscious, psychological warfare. This is the Sisyphus strategy. This strategy is built on two pillars, two actions Sisyphus can take that the gods cannot control. First, mastering the micro. The gods dictated the task, get the rock to the top. They did not dictate how. Sisyphus cannot change what he is doing, but he can change the way he does it. He can control his breath, he can study the contours of the rock, find the most efficient grip, he can perfect the placement of his feet, the flex of his muscles. He can turn the repetitive task into a form of craftsmanship. He can choose to push the boulder with resentment, or he can choose to push it with excellence. This is the mindset of the master craftsman, trapped in the body of a laborer. It is the artist who finds joy in the perfect brushstroke, regardless of whether the painting sells. In our modern context, this is a revolutionary act. You may not control the pointless meeting, but you can control how you show up. You can be the most prepared, the most articulate, the most focused person in the room. You may not control the bureaucratic report, but you can make your section the clearest, most well-researched piece of writing possible. Mastering the micro is about reclaiming your agency from the process, even when you cannot control the outcome. It is finding pride in your own performance, independent of the system's validation. The second pillar is even more powerful, defining the why. The gods gave Sisyphus his key performance indicator, his KPI, boulder at the top of the hill. It was a meaningless metric. The Sisyphus strategy is to reject the system's why and create your own. Sisyphus's new why is no longer to get the rock to the top. His why is to endure. His why is to rebel. His why is to prove to the gods that my spirit is stronger than their mountain. He has separated his job, pushing the rock, from his mission, defying the gods. The job is futile. The mission is profound. In our modern lives, we are handed the job, get the promotion, meet the sales target, close the ticket, but we are suffocating from a lack of mission. The Sisyphus strategy demands that you define your own mission independent of your job title. Perhaps your job is data entry. but your mission is to be the person who brings calm and order to chaos. Perhaps your job is to be a mid-level manager, but your mission is to protect your team from the bureaucracy above, to be the leader who absorbs the futility so they can do meaningful work. The system can pay for your time, it can demand your labor, it cannot own your why. Camus said Sisyphus was happy, but how? Happiness in futility sounds like delusion, but it's not. It's strategy. It is the happiness that comes from agency, the profound satisfaction of knowing that even in a cage, your mind is free. It is the happiness of the rebel, and it reveals the one power the gods never managed to take from him, the power to choose his own perspective. This brings us to leadership, because burnout is not just an individual crisis. It is a leadership crisis. For too long, we have practiced leadership by boulder. We find a smart, capable person. We give them a boulder, a project, a team, a set of targets. We tell them, get this to the top of the hill. Then we stand back and wonder why they eventually collapse from exhaustion and cynicism. We wonder why our best people leave. They are not leaving because the work is hard. They are leaving because the work is futile. They are leaving because we, as leaders, have failed. We have created a system that mimics the gods' punishment. The Sisyphus strategy is not just for the individual. It is a direct playbook for the modern leader. A leader's primary job is not to assign the boulder. It is to infuse the struggle with meaning. A true leader, a leader who defeats burnout, does three things. First, they provide context. They answer the why of the hill. A bad leader says, push this rock. A good leader says, we are pushing this rock because there is a fortress we must build on the other side of this mountain, and your piece is the cornerstone. Context connects the micro task to the macro mission. It answers the human need to know that our effort matters. No task is too menial if it serves a great purpose, but every task is unbearable if it serves no purpose at all. Second, they grant autonomy. They let you choose how to push. This is mastering the micro. A micromanager is a leader who, like the gods, tries to control not just the what, but the how. It is suffocating. A true leader defines the destination, the top of the hill, and then trusts their team to find the best path. They grant the agency and craftsmanship that Sisyphus had to steal for himself. Autonomy is the antidote to futility. And third, and perhaps most importantly, they acknowledge the struggle. The gods never once visited Sisyphus to say, I see you. I see how hard you are working. This is difficult, and I recognize your strength. The final failure of the modern system is its silence. We celebrate the result, the quarterly numbers, the finished project, but we are silent about the process. A leader who defeats burnout is one who walks alongside their team and acknowledges the weight of the rock. They don't offer platitudes. They offer presence. They say, I know this is hard. I know this part is a grind. Your effort is not invisible. That simple human act of recognition can refill a person's heart. It validates the struggle. Burnout, then, is a direct symptom of a system that has failed in these three duties. It is a failure to provide context, a failure to grant autonomy, and a failure to acknowledge the struggle. The boulders of our modern life will not disappear. The emails will still come. The deadlines will still loom. The systems we operate in will often be bureaucratic and imperfect. We cannot wish away the mountain or the boulder. But the myth of Sisyphus teaches us that our freedom does not lie in a different task. It lies in a different perspective. We are all pushing a boulder. The Sisyphus strategy is the conscious choice to own that struggle. It is the choice to master the micro, to find excellence in our own actions, independent of the outcome. It is the choice to define the why, to attach our labor to a personal mission that no corporation can assign and no system can take away. And for those who lead, it is the choice to be the anti-god, to be the leader who gives meaning, grants autonomy, and honors the struggle. Albert Camus wrote, "One must imagine Sisyphus happy." He did not say Sisyphus is happy. He said, one must imagine him happy. That act of imagination, That conscious choice to reframe the struggle, to find meaning in the absurd, to scorn the punishment, that is the victory. The boulder is your life. The struggle is your life. The question Hindsight Lore leaves you with is, how will you choose to push